people get into it like, oh, it's just a game at the beginning. Maybe I could win something. At what stage did it dawn on you that, okay, this is dangerous and it's going to ruin my life?
From the age of 15, I was gambling, but it really got serious after I lost everything. At the age of 18, I was gambling my weekly salary and trying to find my identity. I didn't know who I was. I was brought up atheist, didn't believe in God.
So how does an atheist, a gambler, and also someone who is, trying to figure out his identity, how do you then end up in church? How did that happen? At what stage does it then become, this is a lifestyle? And at what stage did it dawn on you that, okay, this is dangerous and it's going to ruin my life? So if you can talk about the beginning, maybe the middle, and then the light in the tunnel.
Yeah, so when I was 15, I used to go to the tab just with a mate, and we used to bet on NRL, dogs, horses. That was like once a week. And then it got really serious when I was 16, 17. Straight after work, I used to go to the pub and just do slots, the poker machines. And I think I knew it was serious when I think I got to the age of 19, 20, when I was at the casino by myself at 2 o'clock in the morning after a Christmas party. Everyone left me, but I still wanted to stay there. I look back now and I think, like, what a loser. Like, you're spending your life savings by yourself. And then I knew from there I had a serious issue. But I think from a lot of the culture that we're in Australia, it's like a cool thing to do. It's a way that the boys bond, or even girls these days, bond together. And you said it yourself, like just before, how, you're getting a win. But the problem is, and the reality is, gamblers are always chasing their biggest win. I won it once. I think it was like almost $10,000. And I probably put 90% of that back into the machines, because you're always chasing your last win. And that's the trap that the gambling industry gets you. And psychologically, they have studied humans like 10 times over to get you to spend more money. And the sad reality is, this industry that is still out there, the government is allowing it to destroy lives. It's crazy to me that we don't really have, I guess, protocols in place to stop young people from gambling, because now you can do it from the touch of your phone. And it's crazy to me that it's advertised on NRL, it's advertised on every sporting entertainment that we have in this country. So yeah, I think for me, that's when I was able to really reflect on my life and be like, what the heck am I doing? I need help. And then cut it forward, obviously went to church trying to find an answer. And it wasn't until I brought it to light with people around me that I could trust, a year after going to church, that I was able to really just work on myself. And again, going back to my wife, she pretty much snitched on me to our pastor. And yeah, thank God that she did, because I was, going down a rabbit hole.
So how does an atheist, a gambler, and also someone who is, trying to figure out his identity, how do you then end up in church? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I question that a lot. The simple answer is, God was after me. He's after the one. He always leaves the 99 for the one. And God was after me, and he wanted me to come back home. But to really explain what happened to me, or my journey, when I left school at the age of 17, graduated, one of my best mates had a cafe. Oh, sorry, his cousin owned a cafe. So I used to work there. And then after school, I went straight there full time, because I didn't want to be a tradie like all my other mates and break my back. So I went there, worked there, and then a new owner bought it. His name's Simon, a good mate of mine now. And he was a born again Christian. So he pretty much told me to go buy a Bible. And I just bought the Bible because I didn't want to get fired. I didn't really care too much about the Bible. I just wanted to keep my job. And then he tried to really push the gospel on us and try to do Bible studies. But we were young, still in the world, and rather than really focusing on what he was trying to say, we were just partying and spending all our money on gambling and all the other things that the world offers. It wasn't until I left that job a few of my mates now, we're all on that journey to find the truth. And there was a Bible study in Wentworthville that they invited me to. I went. It wasn't really my thing. And then my good mate Jesse Owad said we should do a Bible study at your house. So, and he knew I hated church. He knew, like, all my mates laugh at me now because I persecuted them as teenagers and thought that they were all fake and their God wasn't real. But then we used to do Bible studies at my house.
Essentially, you're like the new Paul.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah, except for killing people. I didn't kill anyone. I killed them with my
I don't
words.
think he killed anyone, but yeah.
But yeah, I was pretty much like Paul, and really, really just I actually like it. It's sad to say, but I really pulled a lot of people away from God during my teenage years and allowed them to live a sinful life, and I pushed them towards sin. I was that guy, but then after a few Bible studies at my house, he kept inviting me. He's like, "Oh, you should come to this church." He invited me for like 6 months, and I said, "Listen, I don't do church. I don't trust church. It's just a place where people take people's money, and every one of them are fake." Um, and then I don't know what happened, man. I think him just telling me you should go to this church, and then me just destroying my life behind the scenes. It was just a timing thing for me, and I walked into Revelations, Western Sydney in Blacktown, and Pastor Gus was preaching, and I never looked back from 9 years ago.
Such a beautiful story that now you're pulling people towards Jesus, and I think if there's anyone who is like a cold-blooded evangelist, it's you, definitely. In hindsight, people are going through a setback, broken dreams. For you, one of the ways that you dealt with that broken dream was to go into gambling and those different vices. That was how you were able to cope and deal with what was going on inside. How would you advise people now as a follower of Jesus Christ? How do they navigate through those situations? There are people who have prayed, who have believed, and yet it's just not worked out the way they thought it would.
Yeah, I think for me, even just to speak into more of my testimony. So I got baptized at the age of 21, I believe I was. And that weekend, or that pretty much that week from that baptism, I started a business. I jumped into a business full time. It was a social media agency, and here I am, new Christian. Man, this is easy. Like, I'm about to give you my life, Jesus, and I'm getting baptized, and you're giving me everything I've ever dreamed of. After I lost my footy career, I kind of knew that, I was called to greater things. And I had a vision in my back room here, and I was on a stage speaking to a lot of people. In my head, I thought I was going to be like a business guru, going to be one of those like life coaches. And at the age of 21 or 22, I had my own business. I had 2 kids at that time. I gave my life to God, and man, this is it. I've made it. Little did I know the next 6 months would be the toughest 6 months of my life. Business, for anyone that does business, it's not easy. You got to work very hard. And for someone that had no experience in doing it, I crumbled, man. And under pressure, it was a very, very tough season, and went back to gambling. So just got baptized, thought God fixed all those issues. But what I realized was that I kept, that want in my heart of the world still, and that quick fix. And when things got tough, my true character came out. So I went back to my old habits, and that played with my mind massively. That played with my mind because I said, like, to God, man, I just gave you my life, and like I thought I was done with this gambling. 6 months to 8 months came on. I pretty much said to my business partner that I can't continue with my business. I was still gambling, and it's not a working. It does not work when you're gambling and trying to run a business. And then from there, I really had to seek help. My wife pretty much said, like, listen, if you do this again, I'm going to leave you. And I had to really just work on myself and just start all over again. I lost everything, lost all my life savings, lost my business, lost my car. I was at the age of 22 and had nothing to my name, had two kids and a wife to provide for. So what happened was I was just going back to being a barista and every day catching public transport. And in that 2 months that I did that, man, God just had to prune me, cut away things, and really get me to die to all my old things. From that stage, what I did to really get through it was I spoke to people I trusted, had people in my corner that prayed for me. Not only that, I took out, obviously professional help with counseling. And from that, I was able to really, I guess, nail what the cause was, and try to really focus on how I was going to get through this. But in saying that, this is, I think, a big topic that a lot of Christians struggle with is why do I continue to sin even though I've given my life to Christ? And to
So
be honest
good.
with you, I think the major thing that we do as Christians is we focus on the sin more than Jesus. So
Mm.
I was just focused on the gambling and I wasn't giving it to God, and I wasn't focusing on Jesus. I wasn't putting him first. As it says in Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness and the rest shall be added. What I was doing, I was seeking the world, and then I'm like, God, now you add everything else. It doesn't work that way. And the reason why that I continued to sin was because I was focusing on it. I wasn't putting God first. And I think as young Christians, we really have to understand that it's a choice every day to pick up your cross. It's
Yeah.
not it's not just a moment, it's not just a feeling, it's an everyday thing. And that's one thing I had to learn quickly is that I can't just say on a Sunday I'm following Christ, but the rest of the week not even acknowledge him, not even put him first, and expect him to come through in my life. And yeah, that's something that I had to work on. And thank God for the people around me. Thank God for the community. And I just thank God that I was able to really break it. It didn't happen overnight. It was probably a 2 year process from completely being free from gambling.
It never
And
happens overnight.
never. But that's, I guess, the society that we live in is a quick fix, and we want things fixed now. But we know that we're all a work in process, and God is constantly working on us every day. But yeah, I think just anyone that's listening to this is that if you're gonna be focusing on your sin more than Christ, the sin is always gonna be overcome because that's what you're focusing on. That's your thing that you're putting all your energy in, and you're not giving it to Christ. So yeah, as and one thing that I want to say this that as Christians is like we can easily just say just give it to God. And I used to hate that. Like, man, I was a young Christian, a new Christian, and they used to say just give it to God, give it to God. They mean well by it, but you need to understand that by saying that and being a new Christian, I don't know what the heck that means. Like, do I just like throw it up in the air? Like, I needed practical steps on how I was gonna really break this habit and really break this addiction. And I thank God for our church. Our pastors are amazing. There was steps in place that I had to really walk it out and have accountability partners and all this type of stuff that really practically helped me, not just spiritually focusing on what I could do, but also physically as well.
Oh, that's really good. And I think, one thing in your story, both in the highs and in the very lows, is you're always surrounded by some good people. And I think
Amen to that.
sometimes people go, "Oh, where is God?" And I think just hearing your story over again, I just remember you over again going, "Oh, I had some good people, I had some friends around, I had people pointing me," and I think through relationships, God was directing you and helped you through that process. And so I think in a day and age whereby lots of people can live isolated, it's very good to get into godly community, get planted, get connected with great people who would point you in the right directions and who would help you through those challenges.